Breaking news, details after a body was found inside a car at a Hollywood tow lot today. There's no immediate information.
Now to some breaking news. Singer David now considered a suspect in the death investigation of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a source with knowledge of the...
Overnight, the singer known as David under arrest in connection with the death of a 14-year-old girl.
But first, we do have breaking news. 21-year-old singer-songwriter David Burke, whose stage name is David, has just been arrested in the murder of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, whose dismembered and decomposed body was found last September in the trunk of a Tesla registered to David. The medical examiner still has not determined a cause and manner of death. Burke is currently being held without bail. For more now, we turn to our Jacqueline Lee in law.
Tonight's case is recent and it is heavy. And I want us to go into this carefully because this is not just a celebrity scandal. This is not just like, oh my god, a singer got arrested. This is about a girl. Her name was Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And she was only 14 years old. A daughter, a sister, a child, a girl who, according to her family, loved to sing and dance. And I need you to keep that in your mind the whole time. Because when celebrity names get attached to cases like this, the internet tends to focus on the famous person. Their songs, their career, their image, their fall from grace. But tonight, we're not talking about that. Tonight, we're walking through the timeline, step by step. And every time it gets darker, I want you to remember Celeste was not a headline. Celeste was not a rumor. Celeste was a child, so should still be here. So what really happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Maria and you are with Nightly Goosebumps, where every story leaves goosebumps. So grab your coffee, your snacks, your blanket, but please prepare yourself, okay? Because this timeline starts quietly and then it gets terrifying. By the way, viewers, this question is advised. Tonight's episode discusses the death of a minor, alleged sexual abuse, homicide, and disturbing court allegations. David Anthony Burke, also known as David, has pleaded not guilty, so everything discussed about the charges should be treated as allegations unless proven in court. So let's start. According to the prosecutors, they have a total of 40 terabyte evidence against David. And everything started on January 2022. This is when Celeste first met David. And listen to this carefully. Celeste was only 11 years old. 11. At 11, most kids are worrying about school, about homework, friends, right now TikTok, and snacks, even the trends, maybe getting in trouble for being on their phone too much. Not this. Okay, not this. Not being connected to an older rising musician. And this is already where my stomach starts turning. Because when a case begins with an 11-year-old child and an older person entering her life, you already feel the shadow over the story, right? And you wanted to ask, where did they met? Who knew? Who was around? Who thought this was okay? Because that is the thing with situation like this. The beginning does not always look scary while it's happening. Sometimes it looks normal, sometimes it looks harmless, sometimes people say, like, oh, they're just talking. But later, when you look back, you realize that was the first red flag. Yeah, it's a red flag. Now we move to November 2023. By the time prosecutors alleged that Celeste and David connection became sexual, and they have evidence on this, okay, on this 40 terabyte digital evidence. Celeste was 13. She's already 13, but still 13. Oh my God. I'm going to keep saying her age because it matters. She was not grown. She was not mature enough to be in a adult situation. She was not someone who could stand on equal ground with an adult man who had fame, money, mobility, and influence. And this is where I want to spread awareness for a second. Because sometimes when people talk about cases involving teenage girls, they use language like relationship, romance, girlfriend, but we need to be careful with that, okay? Because when one person is a child and the other person is an adult, that is not a normal relationship. That is power imbalance. That is vulnerability. And according to prosecutors, Celeste was pulled deeper into this connection while she was still just a little girl trying to understand the world. And that is what, makes this chilling. Not because it happened suddenly, but because it allegedly happened slowly, quietly, hidden behind those messages, secrets, and maybe the kind of attention a girl might mistaken for love. Now let's go to February 2024. Yeah, Celeste was reportedly missing. Imagine this from the family's perspective. You go into her room, she's not there, you called her, no answer. You text her, no reply. You start asking relatives, friends, and even neighbors, have you seen Celeste? Did she say anything to you? Did she tell you where she was going? And at first, maybe you try to stay calm, right? Because you do not want to panic. But then minutes turn into hours. And suddenly, the house feels different. Her room feels too quiet. Her things are still there, but she's not. And that is when you call the authorities and you will tell them, hey, my child is missing. Now, this is important. Her family did report her missing the first time. They were trying, they were scared, they wanted her home. So if anyone tries to say, where was her family, please, okay? They were looking for her. They were trying to bring their daughter back. Now, around this time, authorities reportedly found David's number connected to Celeste and they contacted him. And according to prosecutors, he said he had last spoken to her days earlier and claimed he did not know she was a minor. I know what you're thinking. Like, how? How do you allegedly have this connection with someone and not know she is a child? Right? So suspicious. That is one of the questions that makes this case so unsettling. Authorities reportedly told him Celeste was 13 and had been reported missing. Then Celeste returned home. And can you imagine the relief? Yeah, they were so happy she's back. and they have another chance to protect her. They can cut off whatever it is going on between her and David. They can breathe again. But this part really gives me chills because, according to the prosecutors, the danger did not stop. Yes, it just became more hidden. Mhm. Yeah, because late February 2024, after Celeste came home, her family reportedly took away her phone, which is the best way to deal with this one, right? And that totally makes sense because if you are a parent and you think that someone is contacting your child, you remove the access, right? You try to close that door. Yeah, make it forever. But prosecutors allege that David paid another student to give Celeste a phone. Oh my God. So they could keep communicating. And guys, that is horrifying for me looking back if I'm 13. Because that is not just talking, that is allegedly finding a secret way back into a child's life after her family tried to protect her. And let's be real, to a young girl, a secret phone might feel exciting. It might feel like, oh my God, he really cares. You found a way to reach me. But from the outside, that looks like control. That looks like isolation. That looks like someone's making sure the family cannot see what's happening. And that is why grooming can be so dangerous. Yeah. Because the child may think they're choosing something, but really, they're being pulled away from the people who could protect them. Yeah. So now, let's go to November 2024. Of course, Celeste is reported missing again. And this is where my heart just breaks, guys. Because imagine being the family. She came back. You thought maybe this time she would stay. You thought maybe things would calm down. Then she is gone again. And you start wondering, who is she with? Is she safe? Is someone hiding her? Is she being manipulated? Does she even understand the danger she is in? Because remember, she is only 13. 13 years old. This is not an adult making fully informed choices. This is a child in a situation that sounds more and more dangerous as it continues. But yeah, they can't do anything. And according to the prosecutors, Celeste spent time with David in places like Hollywood Hills, Las Vegas, London, and Texas. And I need you to pause here because how does a young teenage girl move through all these spaces? Flights, hotels, homes, cars, adult gatherings, possibly people around, and nobody stops and says, wait, how old is she? Where are her parents? Is this child okay? That is one of the creepiest part of this, case to me. Not just what prosecutors say happened at the end, but the fact that before the ending, there may have been so many moments where someone could have noticed. And actually, someone did. There are even videos on TikTok that showed Celeste was with David. Okay? Concerts, live streams, a lot. There's a lot of evidence that they were together. But no one said anything. Right? Someone could have asked, someone could have interrupted whatever it is that they have. And maybe, just maybe, Celeste would still be alive. So let's go now to September 7, 2024. And I want you to remember this date because it is Celeste's birthday. She was born on September 7, 2010. Celeste turns 14. At 14, we are still figuring things out, right? We are emotional, we are curious, we want independence, but of course, at the same time, we also need protection. We want to feel grown, but we are not really grown yet. So that is the dangerous part. Celeste was curious, was experimenting, was enjoying her life. But because predators, groomers, and manipulative adults know how to use that, they know how to make a child feel they're special. They know how to make rules feel like prison. They know how to make family concern feels like control. So when Celeste turned 14, she should have been surrounded by people celebrating her life. Instead, prosecutors say she was still inside this dangerous, whatever connection they have. By November 2024, David and Celeste had broken up, as per the prosecutors, but they continued communicating, and sometimes that is when things become unstable. Yeah, because if there has been secrecy, if there has been control, if there has been fear of exposure, a breakup does not always mean freedom. Sometimes it is panic. Sometimes it means someone starts losing control. And sometimes the person who was once quiet starts questioning everything. And that brings us to March 2025. In March 2025, prosecutors say Celeste sent a message, basically expressing she wanted more for herself. And this part hurts because for a second, we hear her not as a victim in a headline, not as a girl connected to David, but as Celeste, a young girl realizing maybe this is not enough. Maybe I deserve better. Maybe I want more than this. And I need you to imagine how brave that is. Because when a child has been wrapped up in something confusing and possibly manipulative, realizing I want more is huge. That is her voice coming through. That is her sense of self trying to survive. And that is why this case is so painful, because Celeste was not just disappearing, she was also trying to find herself. Now we get to April 22, 2025. According to the prosecutor, Celeste and David had a long argument. And prosecutors claim Celeste threatened to expose the alleged relationship. This is the moment where the whole situation tightens. Because if prosecutors are right, Celeste had become a threat to a secret, not because she was dangerous, but because she was powerful in a traditional sense. She had the truth, and the truth can be terrifying to someone who has everything to lose. Trust me. Yeah. Imagine being Celeste in that moment. Maybe angry, maybe hurt, maybe tired, maybe realizing that what happened to her was not okay. Maybe thinking, I'm going to tell. And if prosecutors are right, that is when the situation became deadly. The next day is April 23rd, 2025. Prosecutors say David sent an Uber to pick up Celeste from Lake Elsinore and bring her to his rented Hollywood Hills home. And this is the part that feels like a scene from a thriller, except it is real life. A car pulls up a young girl gets in. The road stretches from Lake Elsinore to Hollywood Hills. Maybe she's looking out the window. Maybe she is texting. Maybe she is nervous. Maybe she thinks they're just going to talk. And the whole time, we know something she does not. That is the last night. According to the prosecutors, she arrives at David's house. Shortly after she gets there, Celeste is killed. David has pleaded not guilty, and his defense denies he caused her death. But the prosecutors believe this is where Celeste's life ended. A child walks into a house, and her voice goes silent. After that night, Celeste is not seen alive again. But the world keeps moving. People go to work. Cars fill the freeway. Music keeps playing. Fans keeps streaming. Social media keeps scrolling. And somewhere, Celeste's family is still waiting, still wondering, still hoping. Now, before we jump into September 2025, we need to talk about something that allegedly happened in July 2025. And this is one of those details that feels like so strange, so uncomfortable, that when you hear it, your whole body just pauses. Because according to TMZ, a resurfaced Twitch live stream showed David with friends inside a home, apologizing for a bad smell. TMZ reported the clip showed him apologizing to friends about a horrible smell. Roughly 2 months after prosecutors allege Celeste was killed. That is so weird, right? If you look at the clip itself, it does not actually prove what smell was it. It does not prove the source of the smell at all. But if you place this live stream inside the prosecution's timeline, it becomes deeply unsettling. People laughing, hanging out, acting normal. And then, this moment where the smell is mentioned, he allegedly explained it away. As a listener, you're sitting there thinking, well, what smell, right? Where exactly were they? Who else noticed it? Did anyone think something was wrong? Did anyone ask more questions? Or did everyone just laugh it off and keep going? That is what makes this detail so chilling. Not because we know for sure what that smell was, but because after that joke, or whatever that was, Celeste was found. And the details is that she was killed in that house. Months pass, then comes September 8, 2025. Remember, Celeste's birthday is September 7. So, a day after her birthday. She's already 15 years old this time. And that is so sad. Because imagine being found a day after your 15th birthday. Anyways, a Tesla is sitting in a Hollywood pool yard. Just a car at first, then workers notice a smell. And you already know. In true crime, when there is a smell coming from a vehicle, the story is about to turn. They open the front trunk, and inside, they found human remains. Later, those remains were identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the missing girl, the 14-year-old, the child whose family had been searching. And suddenly this case was everywhere. Because the Tesla is reportedly registered to David. Now the internet is exploding. News outlets are reporting. Fans are shocked. People are replaying his songs. People are saying, wait, romantic homicide? Chills, right? But while the internet is turning this into a viral case, Celeste's family is having the worst moment of their life. Because for them, this is not tea. This is not drama. This is their daughter, their family. So when Celeste was identified, all hope was gone. And on September 17th, 2025, the search warrant was issued. The investigators searched David's address in Hollywood Hills. And now the case turns forensic. This is where every object matters. A floor, a garage, a computer, a phone, a stain, a receipt, a timestamp, a deleted message. Everything becomes a possible witness because Celeste cannot speak anymore. So the evidence has to speak for her. Just like in TV series like CSI, right? Evidence are collected and that's where they will figure out who killed the victim. But the sad part is this is not fiction. This is real life. And the investigators are trying to rebuild the last moments of a child's life. Soon after, David's tour dates are canceled. Yeah. And I'm not sure why there are two sides in this, but yeah, of course, innocent until proven guilty, right? Some said he was just framed, and some thinks he really killed Celeste. But what really happened, right? That's the biggest question. Now, on December 9th, 2025, Celeste's death is ruled homicide. The medical examiner reportedly finds that her death was not natural. It was not an accident. And because her remains were decomposed, investigators needed more than just the autopsy. They needed the DNA, messages, phone data, purchases, because there's chainsaw too, by the way, the body bag, and the steel burner or metal burner if you want to cremate or burn something. Oh my god. Then there's locations. David went to Santa Barbara, go back to Hollywood Hills, went back to Santa Barbara. Because when someone tries to hide the truth, the smallest details can become so loud. On January 2026, before David's arrest, the authorities arrested someone first. His name is Neo Langston. And if you're following the online side of this case, you may have seen his name pop up in connection with David. Neo Langston was reportedly a friend of David. And they said Neo even quoted that he will do everything for David. He values David that way. That's why people thought he is connected to the murder, especially with the two chainsaw. But nothing has been confirmed yet. Okay, guys? Neo was not arrested because he's connected to the murder, okay? He was arrested because he did not appear in court. The Los Angeles Times reported that Neo was arrested in Montana after allegedly failing to appear as a witness in Los Angeles County criminal proceeding. He was taken into custody on an outstanding Los Angeles County warrant, returned to Los Angeles, and later released on a $60,000 bond. That's what the reports say. And this is where the case starts feeling bigger. Because now we are no longer only talking about David. We are talking about the people around him. Friends, witnesses, managers, people who may have seen things, heard things, known things, or been close enough to the timeline that the investigator wanted them under oath. But at least it does show that the investigators are looking beyond just the person whose name was on the Tesla. They were looking at the circle around him, and that is chilling because that might mean he did not do this alone. Then comes April 16, 2026. David is arrested. This is where the public reaction becomes intense. Fans are shocked. Some people say, I know something was off. Others say, no way, not him. But this is not about fan theories. This is about Celeste. And for her family, the arrest may have felt like the first major step toward justice. But a step is already something. It's a sign that the system is finally working and moving. On April 20, 2026, David is formally charged. The charges include murder and other serious allegations. He pleads not guilty, of course. A charge is not a conviction. A courtroom still has to decide what can be proven. The defense says he did not murder Celeste and was not the cause of her death. The prosecution says otherwise because, well, they said they have 40 terabytes of digital evidence. That's a lot. Oh my God. On April 22nd, 2026, the autopsy details become public. Celeste was dismembered. Her finger was cut off because they said David allegedly dismembered it because his name was tattooed on it. she had multiple penetrating injuries. Allegedly, she was stabbed a lot of times. Like, she really bled out. And allegedly, David was just staring at her, bleeding out until she died. And that's where he brought the body to his garage and put it in a pool and dismembered her using the 2 chainsaw and put her on the body bag that he bought and put her in front of his Tesla. I think he did not purposely left the Tesla there. I think he really plans to move the body or bury it somewhere. It's just that he was so occupied. There were even videos that he was live streaming and he was not doing good, like he's high or something. So probably the intention is to hide the body, but totally forgot about it, because I know David is not that dumb to put the body inside of his car, right? To point the murder to him intentionally. But again, these are just rumors. We really don't know if he was the murderer or he was just set up. But this medical examiner findings support the homicide ruling, and that is so heartbreaking, and that's really painful on the family's side. Celeste Rivas Hernandez family. At the end of April 2026, more of the prosecution's theory becomes public. They allege David killed Celeste because she threatened to reveal their alleged sexual relationship. And that is one of the most chilling possibilities in this whole case. Because if prosecutors are right, Celeste died because she was going to speak. Well, women have died because they want to speak the truth. And this is not the first time this happened. But yeah, that is so sad. Because she had begun to understand. Because she wanted more than what they're doing in the relationship. Because she was no longer willing to stay quiet. And if that is true, then this case is not just about murder. It's about silence. The cost of silence. As of today, the case is still moving through court. Hearings are being scheduled. Evidence is being reviewed. Lawyers are preparing. And Celeste's family is still waiting. Waiting for answers. Waiting for accountability. Waiting for the courtroom to say what happened to their girl. And that waiting is painful. Because grief does not wait politely. It does not pause for court dates. It does not get easier because the case is ongoing. Every day, Celeste is still missing from the table. Still missing from her family. Still missing from the life she should have had. Still missing in the lives of the people who loved her. Now, guys, when you talk about this case, I want you to talk about Celeste. I do not want Celeste to become a footnote. I do not want her name buried under his. I do not want her reduced to the girl in the car or the girl in the trunk. Her name was Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She was 14. She loved to sing and dance. She had a family. She had a future. And she should still be here. So yes, the world may say this is a David's case. But we are going to say it differently. This is Celeste's story. And if justice comes, it should come in her name. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, this is Nightly Goosebumps, and I am Maria. Take care, guys, okay? Because the world is not a safe place. There are predators everywhere. Till next time. Bye.